I got my FFL and I want to help you. What's up guys, Joe here from the Scruffy fam. Hey, do me a favor, if you're not subscribed, go ahead hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, just helps the algorithm out a bunch here. So I got my FFL. So I am a home-based FFL. I'm a gunsmith and need an FFL to work on people's guns. So something I'm really excited about is I got my FFL officially last Friday, and it started a floodgate of things that I needed to do. And as that was happening, I thought about the number of people that have asked me, how do you get an FFL? What does that look like? What's the process look like? And so I wanted to do this video to kind of explain what it was for me and see if that might help anybody else that's out there. Now, each state is different when it comes to getting your FFL. There's a lot of things that you need to make sure of before you just say, I'm gonna do this. The first thing is you need to make sure that you're allowed to. That's the biggest thing. Each state has their own laws on firearms licenses. Now, I live in Wisconsin. In Wisconsin, I just need a business license. So first thing is you have to actually be a business to get the type of FFL I have, which is an 07. There are several different classifications, anywhere from a 1 is for like a gun shop, and 7 is gun shops or gunsmiths. 7 is for manufacturing. I plan on doing some engraving, some building, that type of stuff, so I needed an 07. You have to have an 07 if you're going to be doing those things. If you're just going to be selling firearms, transferring firearms, and just general maintenance, you only need a type 1. There's also a collector's one, but you can't do all the same things. So I got an 07, and the reason I was able to get that was through the conversations with the ATF agent. We decided that was the best option for me. So how does this work? Well, where I live in Wisconsin, you need a business license. So if you've never started a business before, you should really check with the Small Business Association of your state. Each state has a way to start a business in their state. You need to understand the codes that classify your business, and you also need to understand what the zoning regulations are for where you live. So I live in a small town. I know the zoning commissioner. I've had to work with him on my jiu-jitsu school. And so I just called him and I said, hey, I want to do a home-based gunsmithing business and do firearms transfers. What are the rules? And he told me. And so I cannot have retail sales on my walls for people to come in and pick. I can do direct orders, I can do transfers. If I make something, I can sell that, but I can't just have inventory plastered all over my walls. I'm not allowed to do that unless I have a brick and mortar shop. The second thing was distance from schools. So I had to be a certain distance from schools, and I met all of that. I also own my house, so because I own my house, I don't have a landlord to worry about. I don't live in apartments, so I don't have to worry about any of that. Now, if you live in an apartment complex, if you are renting, you're gonna have to talk to your landlord and see what they're willing to allow. So once you figure out if you're even allowed to be a home-based FFL, the next step is getting your state and federal information going. So you need an EIN. Your EIN is your identification number. It's basically the social security number of your business, and that is free. If there's anything that tells you pay us to help you do your EIN, don't do it. It's a completely free service. You also need to do an articles of incorporation for your business. You need to determine what type of business are you going to do. Are you going to do a sole proprietorship, a corporation, an LLC, which is a limited liability company? What is the type that you're going to do? Now, mine is an LLC. The name of mine is Scruffy Arms LLC. That is the official legal name of my business. Once I had that legal name of my business with my articles of incorporation, I was able to get my EIN. Those two things are now married together. So if you looked up the EIN, it would come up as Scruffy Arms LLC. You need those things to take the next step for your business. So first is articles of incorporation, then EIN. After I had those, I applied for my business license. Now, where I live, my state business license covers me in the town that I live in. So because I have a sales and use tax license, I have a seller's license, I can sell retail goods. So that's what I needed, that to be able to sell retail goods. That is what classifies as my business license here. Once I had all of that, then I could apply for my FFL. You can't apply for your FFL until you have your business license. You have to be a legitimate business to apply for your FFL. The initial setup of getting your business license, EIN, all that, you can do that in a week. It doesn't take very long to do that process. Here in Wisconsin, I did all of that. It was like 2 or 3 days, and I had business license, EIN, articles of incorporation, all of that was done. So that took about a week. Then I went to the ATS website, downloaded the form, filled out the form, and sent it in. Now, there's a lot of people that think getting your FFL is hard. It's not hard. When you fill out the application, it's pretty user-friendly to fill out the application. I was actually pleasantly surprised how easy it was to do. I was in gunsmithing school, and I had heard horror stories about people not being able to get their FFL, and I had no idea why, because I filled out the application. It was pretty user-friendly and simple, and then it's just a waiting game. Where people get tripped up is they don't follow the directions on it. It tells you pretty easily what you need to do. So I think the thing that people get hung up on is the fingerprint cards and the photo. So you need a passport photo, and you need 2 sets of fingerprint cards that are a specific type. And it tells you on the application the type that you need to do. So I went to my local police station and asked them if I could get the fingerprints. I paid $5 for the fingerprints. So I got the 2 cards. Then I went to Walgreens, got a passport photo taken, and I sent in my packet. Now, once I sent in my packet, that's when the wait started. I got a phone call about 45 days after I submitted my packet by the ATF agent, and we set up the interview. My interview was about almost 2 months to the day from when I applied for my FFL. The interview was about 2 hours. Yeah, it was about 2 hours. Now, honestly, part of that was we were just BSing for a lot of it. He was a veteran, I'm a veteran, I run a veteran nonprofit, so we sat and we talked a lot about that. We went through the checklist of everything you needed to do, but I was prepared for that interview. I had everything that I needed. I found out that you can contact the ATF to get any of the documents that you may need for your business. So I asked for the new FFL welcome packet thing. They sent me that. So by the time he got here, I already had the 4473s. I already had the multiple sales of firearms. I already had the loss in transit. I had all the forms that you're going to need for your business ready to go. So when he showed up, I already had all the things, okay? I had a gunsmith log, I had a firearms log, I had all the things you need to do your business. So we just went through the checklist fairly quickly. In that, he gave me my FFL number, knew what it was. It had already been assigned to me. All it's waiting for is an interview, as if they are going to say yes or no and determine if you need a 1 or a 7. We agreed I needed a 7. He said yes. He left, and then 2.5 weeks later, I got my FFL in the mail. So that entire process from the time I submitted until receiving my actual FFL was about 10 to 12 weeks. Okay, so 2.5 to 3 months from the time I submitted till I had my FFL. Now, once I got my FFL, then I could get my bank account, I could get my distributor accounts, I could get set up with the payment processing. All of those things happened after I got my FFL. And what I learned in that process is you have to make sure that you're prepared each step of the way. So you need to do these things in order. If you don't do them in order, it's going to take twice as long. So I knew that I did not want to invest a lot of money in overhead. I didn't want to buy a bunch of supplies and then have to sell them. I have seen many home-based FFLs that they get really excited. They look at all the sales catalogs, look at all of the benefits we get for using a certain distributor, and they'll buy the things, bring them to their house, and then try to sell them. I knew that's something I didn't want to do. So because of that, it made it really, really easy for me to decide who the distributors were and which major companies that do the online firearms purchases and transfers I wanted to sign up with. So I signed up with Midway USA, I signed up with Brownells, I signed up with Palmetto State Armory, and then I also signed up with Gun Broker, and I'm working with Gun Prime as well. Any of these that you can go online and buy something and have it shipped to an FFL, I'm sending my information to them, I'm getting accounts with them, so if someone buys something, they could have it shipped to me and I could do the transfer. Because that's how I decided I wanted to do my business. And what I think is one of the most important things if you're choosing to do a home-based FFL is that you make sure you understand what you want to do for your business. I had a really good conversation with someone that told me, you know, when you're starting a business, you really need to know what you want your end state to be. And while I believe that is a thing that you can have in your mind of, man, someday I'd like to have, you really need to be in the present and know what your left and right limits are and what you want to do for your left and right limits. So my primary purpose of getting my FFL was so that I can work on firearms, I can clean them, I can maintenance them, I can upgrade them. That was my main purpose of getting it. I want to build rifles. That's something I want to do. To do that, I needed to get an FFL. So I'm not really interested in having a retail space where I keep rifles and shotguns and pistols in stock for people to come and buy. That's not the type of business I'm interested in. If someone wants something, they can contact me and I can order it and get it to them. And when you get those types of people, they've done the research, they've thought about it, they want to make a good choice and a good purchase, they buy it, and they know, and you know that that's something they want, and they research and they'll take it. As opposed to working in a retail setting, you may get caught by the ooh shiny and buy something, regret it, and try to bring it back later, and then you've got a customer dispute. That's not something I wanted to deal with. So, guys, I just wanted to share with you what my journey was to get my home-based FFL. If you've got some specific questions over what forms I got, what steps you may be confused on, it's actually a whole lot easier than it sounds. As long as you stay up on your paperwork and as long as you make sure that you don't mix customers and personal stuff, you're going to be perfectly fine. So I hope this is helpful to someone. Please share this with anybody who's thinking about getting a home-based FFL. I'd be more than happy to talk to you. Put in the comments down below any questions you have, and I'll be happy to answer them. Until then, guys, we'll see you next time.